All right, cool. Courtney, can you do roll call?
Yes.
Thank you.
Christina Bury, Evelyn Jones, Amy Moyer, John Ring, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally,
Present.
County Commissioner Selvin Whiteskunk, Brett Wolk.
Hi.
Hi, Brett. Katie McGrath Novak.
Here.
And I know Commissioner Clyde Church is here, but he's a little tied up. So Commissioner, I'm marking you as present. So we have 4 council members, which unfortunately is not enough for quorum, so we won't be able to make any decisions or approve the meeting minutes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yeah, we can keep it kind of short because we don't have a lot of people, but I feel like since we've got a few people, it's probably worth at least discussing. Today, I wanted to hear a quick update from Laura. The Forest Resilience Planning Guide has been moving along swimmingly and is getting to its final phases. So I want to hear a little bit from her, and we're also interested in how to get the broader Forest Health Council a little bit more engaged with that. So we just kind of want to do a little brainstorm. And then one of the things that the legislative committee does that I think would be great for us to do is they plan out kind of a calendar that looks out several months in advance to make sure that like they're hitting milestones and sort of prioritizing discussions in a way that we can move forward. So Courtney and I drafted up a little calendar that I was thinking maybe we can just look at and see if we want to plan out a couple meetings worth, just so that people have something to look forward to and we're making some forward motion. So Laura, how is your network connection doing?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
I might just keep my camera off to maintain the quality of my audio. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why it's having some issues today. But do you want me to go ahead and start with the planning guide?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. So the planning guide is in a full draft at a concise 99 pages. And so I can some messaging to get feedback based on a survey from the Forest Health Council. Like Katie mentioned, great to talk about how to make that compelling and in the length of the guide, making sure we're making the ask review really strategic. And so Courtney, I don't know if you had a chance at my kind of draft message for the council, included just a general ask for feedback, and then some background information to kind of get folks in the right frame of mind. The background information, purpose, goals, and audience information from the 2023 recommendation, and then a kind of that outreach that I put together for the planning team so folks could look a little if they were interested to know kind of what influenced the of how this guide has turned out. And I believe there's time on the Forest Health Council quarterly meeting agenda to present about the guide, and then touching base as a guide development team this afternoon. Katie, Courtney, and Brett, sneak preview into that agenda. I'd like to touch base about essentially getting that on the website, again on Forest Health Council review and project team review, and discuss the high points for the Health Council quarterly meeting as well. So lots going on to get this in its final form. I guess I think it would be helpful if Katie and Courtney and Brad on Friday. Okay, so there's probably haven't had a chance to dive into it or anything like that. But how are you? What are you thinking about development? Have you had a chance? Any other kind of comments or concerns?
I have not had a chance to look through the latest draft. I think I looked through the first section and there was like a period of time when that was assigned and sent my feedback to Allison, but I haven't read through the rest. And then Allison Lurch is also planning on reading through the rest, like in the coming weeks, with this same timeline.
Yep.
Yeah, I have not either, and I'm realizing that now we're back down to the team that's going to meet this afternoon anyway. I'm not sure. I was really hoping to see if there were ways that this committee could help kind of push out the survey, whether that be like each of us committing to like outreach to a few Forest Health Council members or something like that, but that might have to be done over email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea of kind of making it a more personal.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's a good idea. I have a feeling that, I send out a lot of emails as the administrator, and I often have asks for the council. And so perhaps a more personalized ask might just be a good reminder for council members who are getting a lot from me.
Yeah, I guess I also have not reviewed it yet, Laura. And I'm actually unlikely, I realize I never replied, but I think I'm unlikely to make the meeting in an hour or two. So we could talk about things now. I don't know if Chaska was planning to join or not. But if you want some of my feedback, we could dive in a little more. My initial reaction though, and I know I have been adding more than subtracting as well, so I'm contributing, but when you say it's a 99-page document, and way back when we started, we said we wanted to mirror the post-fire playbook and be more like an entry, simple to use and access sort of resource for people. So at a very high level, I just kind of wanted to bring that back. And that's something we talked about as a committee, right, of a goal of doing this exercise. I would have to kind of read it and think about what sort of reframing, if any, we should think about. But at this point, it's also, I don't know how much we want to totally change directions or think about making things into appendices or a summary booklet or something like that, right? I like the way the direction has been going and all the things we've been talking about, just sort of on a bigger concept of like sending people a 99-page document. How is it going to be used?
I just wanted to note Courtney's note in the chat, which is that she has to take full notes as long as we are in session. So we can still keep talking about this. I think it's a good idea to stick around and get Brett's perspectives while we can. But yeah, maybe we should just call this meeting to a close officially if we're wanting to talk about this stuff. I know Commissioner Shattuck McNally, you said you're not really able to participate, so I'm not trying to exclude you. You're totally welcome to stay on, but if the actual discussion is going to be this smaller group, it might be easier to just do that.
Well, I just want to participate if I can, but I do have to. I was just going to try to hear the updates and try to, I'm going to have to jump in the car here and drive 10 minutes across town. So I just want to participate, but also if we're going to not have, if it's really not going to be an official meeting and you guys are going to have another small group discussion, then we probably should definitely, I just think that's the right thing to do. And yeah, go from there and then just let me know what other notes you're having. And yeah, that would be great. So
That sounds good. Keep an eye on your email. We might ask people to do personal outreaches for this survey.
okay.
Brett, what
To
was you saying?
do, before we end the official part, is there anything, Courtney, that we need to be prepared to share at the next fall Forest Health Council meeting? I think that would be good to talk about and document and get commissioners' thoughts on. And then I can give a 1-minute update on the forest tracker or things like that as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have both committees on the agenda for their regular update, and the update length really corresponds to what they have to share. Like when the legislative committee is presenting and getting feedback on legislative recommendations, we make that a long discussion. When it's simply a report out on what's happened or what presentations they've received, it can be short. Since Laura has her own separate hour to go through the Forest Resilience Planning Guide, this committee's update probably doesn't need to be as long. So I say, yeah, it's up to this group what they want to report on. Brett, if you wanted to talk about the forest tracker, Katie, if you wanted to talk about other things the committee is considering, kind of what the content is informs what I put on the agenda.
Brett, will you have much to share on Forest Tracker by our quarterly?
I am, well, I personally am probably not going to be able to attend that meeting, unfortunately. But yes, we are still hopeful that I think it will be at least released in some form by then. So I don't know if it'll be much discussion or just more sharing and reaction or things like that. But yeah, I think that's sort of my update as we are ready to share. Again, it'll be a beta version with just federal and state data, not county or local data, because it was the databases we had regular access to for the majority of the land in Colorado. So yeah, we're working on also finalizing a report for that, and all the documentation and things like that is sort of the stage we're at. We had talked about sending out and asking for some sort of a soft release of sending it to the local partners who sent us data a year ago that he helped us connect with, and then maybe some people on this committee or other folks, and just say like, hey, here it is. What's your feedback? Is it easy to navigate? Is the terminology right? What do you want to see? What do you not want to see? Some of those questions before we do bigger, wider sharing, and people are like, you have a misspelling over here. Why didn't you catch that? So that's sort of the status on where that's at and how that's been going. We have also, I think that it's separate, and I guess I'm wondering if there's any way the Forest Resilience Planning Guide and the Forest Tracker sort of complement each other. And I think we should keep it that way rather than try and like create one survey or one thing. But I just wanted to throw that out there, that I think the Forest Tracker is also going to be potentially reaching out to people. We don't have to reach out to the Forest Council, or like, I don't know what kind of survey or information we're going to be asking for. But that's something that we had discussed as a possibility. Of just a 3-question, like, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Want to learn more? Sort of thing.
Well, that sounds awesome. That's very exciting that it's getting down to that point. Let's touch base about like if we want to pull in some of the other Forest Tracker team and how we might coordinate the those two conversations with the planning guide and the forest tracker for this next meeting.
I imagine, I think we should anticipate questions from the rest of the council of like, so you're doing this planning guide, how do I use a forest tracker to help plan, or do I?
Mhm.
Or not? And so we should just kind of think about that.
Yeah, and so Courtney, maybe in the agenda, like making our section, those, you said Laura has her own spot, but maybe if the spots are next to each other so that it can kind of flow the discussion into the next.
And I'll confirm with the forest tracker team if we do or don't want a specific spot on the agenda. I don't know when you need to know by, Courtney, but as I said, we're sort of keep thinking it's ready to go, and then we find something else that we need to work on. Either
Classic.
data or political wise or otherwise.
Yeah, if you could let me know by next week, I'm finalizing
Okay.
the agenda and inviting speakers and things like that.
Great. Well, since we're going to end this meeting, it sounds like I'm going to head off and try to jump in the car and not be distracted because it's been a Monday and certainly finding I can't multitask as well as I'd like to today. So I wish you all a great day. Thanks for the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. All right, cool.
Did we officially adjourn now?
Was there anything else? I feel like you had said two things, Brett, and then we talked about one thing, but maybe not. Oh,
Yeah.
you were give your update, and then we were going to talk about what to talk about at the meeting, and we kind of just did both of those. All right, cool. Well, let's adjourn. Great.
Thank you, Chair McGrath Novak.
You're welcome.